Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Kickstart Sports Radio. I'm your host, Charlie Cash, aka Kickstart. So pleased to be with you on this afternoon. It's currently December 4th, 2:55 p.m. If you see the light drain from my eyes, it's because I started this at 2. This is like my 8th take, and I'm trying to make everything flow and get all these thoughts out before I start what the actual video is about, but I can't. So I'm just going to do it all. I'm just going to spit out what I need to say, and then we're going to move on, because I'm so tired of cutting these takes. Okay, here we go. I wanted to start a YouTube for this. I normally do this on the radio, but everyone says I got a face for radio. You can probably see it. I didn't do any work. I didn't do anything today to get, I showered, but I'm not trying to make this look good, obviously. So normally I'm on the radio, and I just talk sports for about an hour or two, and that's really fun, but it's hooked up to my college. And so when I leave college, I got one more semester left. I want to keep doing this. I like talking sports, and it's a fun thing to do. So I thought, why not move it over to YouTube? I got a few family members asking, hey, I want to listen to this while I'm working, and I don't want to have to listen to it live. So we're just going to do it here. So I'm going to start uploading to YouTube, and then I'll play live on the radio at the same time. So should be fun. Radio's not going away. You'll know when that stops. It'll about 6 more months, and then I'm out of here. But I interviewed another content creator, and I that's going to go on YouTube, but for the last 2 weeks, I did that right before Thanksgiving, and then I went home for 2 weeks, and the entire time I was like, I don't want that to be my first video, because it would be kind of weird if I was like, here's a video, me testing OBS, here's me piggybacking off someone's fame. I don't want to do that. So I want that video to be later. Obviously, it's going to be out. It'll be out by 2026. It'll be out before the Super Bowl, because we talked about playoff predictions, but that was about 2 weeks ago, and then I got another week here, and then I'm off home, I'm working. I should have a lot more free time, so I'm just here, and I was like, hey, you know what? My first video, I don't want it to be playoffs, because then I'm kind of smushing it. Let's just jump in mid-season. Let's do some Week 14 reactions. So that's what we're about to do. You'll notice if you listen to the radio I normally say all sports, no ads, except for the occasional plug, and then I plug. I'm not going to do that. I got a face cam, and I have enough room. I'm just going to have a Google Doc open. I got to move my hand correctly. It's flipped, so it's really weird. But I'm going to have some plugs right here. Just the YouTube, the Instagram, all that. I'm not going to have my personal Instagram. You can find that, but it's whatever. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Okay, this is the third time I've recorded just this part right here, and this is going to be rough, but we're going to get it done. Cowboys-Lions. This is actually a little bit of a mini rivalry brewing here, because the Cowboys and Lions have faced each other the last 3 years, and it all started with what happened on that first game. I can't show it, obviously, not because I don't want to, but because I can't. I've been trying to. This is my third take trying to do this, and I can't cleanly get the video up, so we're just going to give up. That's the Kickstart Sports Radio way, just if it's too hard, stop. Obviously, I can do it. I need another monitor, though, so I can't show it, but I wouldn't be able to show it with audio even if I did. So here we go. Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions. What happened 2 years ago was the Lions scored a touchdown with a few minutes left, and the Cowboys were up 20-19. What ended up happening was they went for 2 to make it 21-20, and they ran a guard eligible. For those who don't know what a guard eligible is, it's where you run one of your linemen and make it so they report to the ref as eligible so that they can go out and catch a ball. The point is to catch the defense off guard, because they're not ready for an O-lineman to be catching the football for a touchdown. Or in this case, a 2-point conversion. People run them decently. Obviously not in this big of a situation, but then again, it's Dan Campbell, so you never know. But what ended up happening was the play was good, and they called it back for illegal touching, which means that the O-lineman did not report as eligible. And every single person in the One Pride was angry. That's not I just realized it sounded like a pride joke. The Lions are called One Pride. That's what they're like. Browns are Dog Pound. Lions are One Pride. I don't know what Cowboys are off the top of my head. I'd have to think about that. But anyways, I almost said Spurs up. That's the San Antonio Spurs. My bad. Anyways, so the Dallas Cowboys ended up getting that play called back, and so they went for 2 again, which is crazy. And they actually got, I believe it's funny enough to say Micah Parsons. This is 2 years ago. He was still in the Cowboys. Got a pass interference call or a roughing call. I can't remember what it was. I can't look at the replay, obviously, because I'm stuck in OBS. But what an insane call! So they got to go back up to the 2-yard line and go for 2 again, and they missed it. Obviously, I think if you have 3 chances to go for it and you don't get it either time, I think you should just take the extra point and go to overtime. But to their own. I'm not an offensive coordinator, especially in the NFL level. So, ever since that happened, and I believe even Cowboys fans have agreed that the Lions got robbed of that game. So what ended up happening was the next year when they played, they ran a lot of guard eligible, and they blew them out by 40 points. Dak Prescott, I believe, was out for that game, but that was last year. They destroyed him. Cowboys didn't make the playoffs last year. Now it's a different scenario. both of these teams, the Lions especially more, need to win to keep themselves in. The Cowboys are coming off of a Thanksgiving dub at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes having a quiet MVP season. Now, do I think he'll win MVP? No. Matthew Stafford, I think, has still got that locked up, despite his game last week against the Panthers. We'll talk about it. But despite that, Matthew Stafford I think, will be a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year. I do not think he'll win MVP. I don't know if he'll be a finalist. Now, then again, this is recorded before this game, so I do not know. And then the Lions are coming off a Thanksgiving loss and a sweep by the Packers. This is not what I was expecting at all. I thought the Lions would be front runners. Now the Bears are actually the 1 seed, and Caleb Williams, the average completion percentage with a clean pocket is about 70. He's throwing 63%. The Bears are 9-3 and the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have to pass the Packers and the Bears to even think about winning the division, let alone getting in the playoffs. This is a must-win game for both of them. It's in Detroit, so Cowboys are traveling. Lions are just at home. I think they're ready. This is going to be a really good game, though. Lions defense has looked a little bit sluggish. CeeDee Lamb and Dak have been connecting on levels. George Pickens is having a quiet I just said this phrase, but quiet Offensive Player of the Year run. He's doing really well. They're both doing amazing. The Steelers wanting, I know I'm a Browns fan, but the Steelers wanted to trade George Pickens. Insane. I don't know why. But this should be a good game. But I think I'm going to have to take the Lions on this one. Give me the Lions. In a high-scoring game, I think I'm just going to pull a random score out, and I'll just say, you'll say 24-31. But it's not, and that's a 7-point difference, but I'm going to call it as in it's going to be a 14-point difference. Cowboys will score, miss an onside kick, and then the Lions will kneel it out to win. Moving the Lions to 8-5, and the Cowboys drop to 6-1, back to a 500 record. But both of them will still be alive in the playoff hunt. This doesn't affect the AFC playoff hunt, but I think both these teams will be competing for a wild card this season, and it'll be really interesting to see who gets it. This game has big playoff implications. So let's just move on to the next one. Next up, Titans versus Browns. I'm going in game order, so this is just the next game up. I'm not being biased by putting my game first, but this is one of those Sunday morning games. The Browns have no primetime games, so all their games are Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, so this kind of sucks, but whatever. Obviously, I got a big dog in this fight. I love the Cleveland Browns. And I'm facing Tennessee Titans, who I'm not being just because they're my enemy, or just because they're facing the Browns, not my enemy, but I've never met a Titans fan. I live in Montana, so I don't meet that many, people who are like diehard from Tennessee. I've been to Bristol at the racetrack. I didn't see any Titans gear there. Granted, it was COVID, so probably half of you didn't show up, but I've never met a Titans fan. So what I'm about to say is probably a lot more biased than you think, and I'm sorry. Don't at me. Actually, you can. Just keep it private so you don't be mean. Anyways, Tennessee Titans 1-11, Cleveland Browns 3-9. Now, the Browns. Shedeur Sanders actually had a decent day against the 49ers, but we're not here to talk about the offense. The Titans defense is okay at best. The Browns offense is good at best. So the Browns, all they need to do is score like 14 points and they win. You know why? It's because the Titans offense, Cam Ward is worse than, what's Mayo boy's name? Who was their quarterback? Will Levis. Thank you. Will Levis. So he's been doing worse than Will Levis with the same amount of weapons. And that's not something you want to see from a first-round pick. Obviously, I know, especially from Bryce Young, there's been a lot of players who look really bad and then they get better in their next years. But this is not something that we should be having this close. The Titans are in a deep rebuild, obviously, right now. But the big X factor we're talking about here is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has 19 sacks. The NFL record is 22.5. He needs 4.5. 3.5. Oh no, not again. But the real X factor here is going to be Myles Garrett, of course, obviously. The Titans have a weaker O-line, and Will Levis has been, not Will Levis, but the real X factor here is going to be Myles Garrett on that Browns D-line. Now, the Titans O-line is not the best. I'm not going to say they're bad, obviously. They're not going to be as bad as the Raiders O-line, but they've definitely been a weaker O-line, especially going up against that Browns D-line. The Browns, I'm not going to say they have a great defense. I think they do, but I won't actually, I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket and go, we're the number one defense. We're a very good defense. But especially that D-line. Mason Graham, Myles Garrett, and everyone else who's getting their participation trophy at the end of the year. Obviously, the headline is Myles Garrett. Over Shedeur. Shedeur Sanders is a huge story that we need to talk about. Myles Garrett breaking the sack record is just taking that all out. Myles Garrett, in case you don't know, has 19 sacks this season. The NFL record is 22.5 by Michael Strahan in 2001. And then it was tied by J.J. Watt. I gotta remember if it's T.J. Watt. I confuse them up all the time. T.J. Watt and the Steelers tied it in 2022. Now, he had an extra game, so what can you say there? But they're a different rival. I gotta be mean. So, but it's huge. The big debate in the league right now is who's better, T.J. or Myles. I'm obviously going to say this right now. It doesn't matter. I have a lot of respect for the Steelers. I love the Steelers logo. That's come from me. We have one of the worst logos, even though I like it. Steelers, I got a lot of respect for you. More than the Ravens, more than the Bengals. Easily. But Myles Garrett is better than TJ Watt. And I'll dive into it real quick, but just because it's a review, I'll keep it quick. TJ Watt had 198 snaps last year without a single stat. Not a tackle, not a pressure, not a sack, nothing. Myles Garrett has probably been triple teamed more than TJ Watt has been double teamed this year. Okay, as soon as I said that out loud, I take it back. Probably not, but still. Myles Garrett, insane X factor. Am I saying TJ Watt's bad? No, that man has more football knowledge in his left pinky toe than I do in my entire body. Anyways, back to the important stuff. Obviously, you know where I'm going with this. I think the Browns are going to win. They only need to score like 14 points. The Titans have a decent defense. The Browns have a decent offense. Not so great, but then again, sort of the Titans not have a not so great defense. So they only need to score like 14 to keep it up. I honestly could see a shutout here, kind of like a Browns and Cardinals 2 years ago. That kind of matchup is what I'm thinking of right now. But give me the Browns. I'm going to say 21-10 here. I do think they get a touchdown here, but it's going to be off of a short field, a must punt or something like that. But give me the Browns, 21-10. Next up, Seattle Seahawks and Atlanta Falcons. Now, obviously, it's going to be an easy pick. It's Seattle. I'll get that out of the way. You can skip forward if you want to hear the other ones. But listen, Michael Penix is out. I almost said it. You know what I mean, if you know what I mean. Michael Penix is out with an ACL. And the Seahawks have been looking like one of the best teams in the league right now. I'm not a huge Seattle fan. Everyone in Montana is either Steelers, Packers, Denver, or Seattle. Out of those 4 teams, probably Seattle is my least favorite. Just out of those 4. But I really like Seattle. I've come to respect them over the last few years. Except for when they're on the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. I didn't say that. Who said that? Anyways, I do think they're going to get this dub. The Falcons' defense has actually been decently solid, but, it's not enough to... It's not enough to win. Obviously, they're 4-8. Seattle's has been amazing. They had a shutout against the Vikings. Now, obviously, they didn't have a QB who wouldn't throw less than 4 interceptions. But Kirk Cousins has to lead this team against the Seahawks, who, when he led them last week, they lost to the Jets. So, just getting a better team in all facets. I genuinely thought the Jets might have had a chance to go 0-17 this year. I did. And then they beat the Bengals and the Browns, and they just beat the Falcons. So, what does it say about the Falcons? Now they got to go in. Into their own stadium, bring the Seahawks in, and just try not to lose by too much. I actually think they will lose by a bunch. I think the final score is going to be 9-31. I know that's a big lopsided win, but Sam Darnold's putting up a solid year. Obviously not like last year where he was loaded with that Vikings offense, but this Seattle offense is insane. JSN, who I'm not going to say his full name because I don't want to get canceled in my first video. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Jackson Smith Njigba has been insane. He broke the wide receiver record for the Seahawks in a single season by week 12. Everything he does from now on is breaking records. Insane. Sam Darnold's obviously looked amazing. That offense, you just can't stop that offense. Jake Bobo has looked decent. It's just an insane offense. Obviously, it's not like number 1 in the league, but it's just still an insane offense to go against that Falcons defense. I don't think there's anything they're going to do. Give me the Seahawks 31-9. Next up, this is a really dicey game for me to call. Not only because they're 2 juggernauts, but because I actually, in my head, I think one team is vastly better than the other, but it's the circumstances. Other than last year, the Indianapolis Colts have not beaten the Jaguars at home since 2014. Last year they did it. Actually, guess it would have been this year. It was January when they did it. But that was the 4-13 Jaguars. The Colts won that game to go 8-9 and possibly stumble their way into the playoffs, but it just wasn't happening. Jaguars. At home, they've been really, really solid. That Chiefs team came in when they were wearing their throwbacks. Insane game. Trevor Lawrence, since he got drafted, was supposed to be a Peyton Manning, not obviously not Tom Brady, but he had the draft level of a Peyton Manning or who's the other guy from Clemson? Oh, Deshaun Watson, sorry. He's had that draft reputation when he came out. And so everyone was like, this is the guy who's going to be ready day 1. And he hasn't been. He hasn't been that guy. He's stepping up a little bit, but he just hasn't been that guy yet. This season, he's looking really solid, but this is the game. This is the game. This could decide the AFC 1 seed, and this could easily decide who wins this division. I am actually upset alert, kind of. I don't know who's favored in this game, but upset. I am going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. They're at home. The Colts struggle on the road against them when they're a decent team. And the Colts have just been struggling lately. They had a really strong start, but they've just been struggling lately. Daniel Jones has not looked the best. Ever since they played that Steelers defense, they just haven't been as good. So we'll have to see. But I'm gonna call the Jaguars to win this game 17-13. Next up, an interesting matchup we're going to go into right now because these records do not display how good these teams are. The Washington Commanders and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Minnesota at home has been a decent team, but the fact that they haven't had a QB who's better than Jamarcus Russell has been really bad. Max Brosmer did not get it done last week. 4 interceptions, 100 and something yards. He had a 33 QBR. QBR is your quarterback rating. It kind of is the number to determine how well you're doing. If you were to take the ball and spike it every play, your QBR would be 39.2, something like that. Max Brosmer's is 33. That sucks. So, QB issues on that side. JJ McCarthy has also had a QBR lower than 39, but he's played more games, obviously. He's just got to get better. He's a rookie. Now, I will say this, and it's not going to be on the YouTube, obviously, because I'm just starting this. I called it. I said he was going to be bad. He threw like 10 passes in the national championship and was signing the camera like he was, carried that whole Michigan team. He did not. Plus, they were cheating. Anyways, sorry. Listen, I'm a Browns fan. I have to not like Michigan, all right? So, Let's get back on track here. The Washington Commanders are also missing Jayden Daniels as of right now. 43 minutes ago, Daniels was limited in practice. It's now 3:26 p.m. I just realized I've been trying to record this for an hour and a half, so I actually do think the Commanders have been pretty solid. Last week they took the Broncos to overtime. Insane. They went for 2 and missed, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to go for 2 to get take advantage of that soft defense or tired. That Broncos defense is not soft and not weak. They were just tired because they've been out on the field for so long. I actually respect them going for it. When they went for it, I was like, sweet. The person I did the interview with probably might watch this. This is for you, man. I'm calling the Commanders to win. Now, the reason I say their record, it doesn't show how good they are. The Commanders are a lot better than 3-9, and the Vikings are a lot worse than 4-8. Justin Jefferson is on his way from being a Hall of Fame talent to ending up in one of those forgotten wide receivers of the 2020s video in like 5 years. It's insanely unfortunate to see, and I honestly, if he requested a trade, I wouldn't be surprised. He might even end up in Seattle back with Sam Darnold. It's just very unfortunate to see him with Carson Wentz, JJ McCarthy, and Max Brosmer. Just unfortunate. Now, obviously, Carson Wentz was good, but not anymore. It's unfortunate to see. But I'm going to take the Commanders to win this. They're going into the bank, which the Vikings have actually put pretty solid at the bank, as well as they can with that quarterback room. But I think the Commanders will storm into Minnesota. I actually think it's going to be a closer game than most think. I think this game is going to end 25-20. I'm going to mix it up with a score. 25-20. Actually, no, I don't think the Vikings are going to score that much. Let's go 25-17. I'll lower it a little bit. Obviously, I'm pulling these numbers out of nowhere, but give me the Commanders to win. Next up, we got the game. Obviously not Ohio State, Michigan, but this is the game. The Buffalo Bills have been trying to prove their legitimacy in the NFL. Oh, sorry, messed up my camera. They've been trying to prove their legitimacy. Obviously, they've been a good team, but they can't get past the Chiefs, and the Patriots dynasty is about to start back up, and they haven't even made it to a Super Bowl. This is the year. They need to get it done. The Bengals, if they lose another game the rest of the year, they're out of the playoff. That's it. They need to win the next 5, or they're out. Burrow is back. And the Buffalo Bills defense has not looked the best against mediocre teams. And what do you mean by mediocre? Well, obviously the Patriots aren't a mediocre team, but that Texans team did not look like they deserved to win. But Josh Allen made the defense look like it deserved to win. So if Josh Allen can limit his mistakes against this weak Cincinnati Bengals team, he can easily get past this team. Joe Burrow looked really solid coming back. He's been gone for so long and he's ready to rock. This is the first game where I'm actually looking at it because I don't have these calls ready to go. I'm looking at it. I could call a tie here. I'm being serious. I think this game will go to overtime. But I think the Buffalo Bills will find a way to pull it out and eliminate the Bengals from playoff contention. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to win 31-28 after a field goal, and then somehow they stop the Bills on 4th down. In overtime. That's my call. I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on this because it's an easy call. New Orleans Saints, who don't have a quarterback, and I mean they do, but like terrible quarterback. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And obviously when I say terrible quarterback play, I don't mean that bad. It's not Spencer Rattler who's starting for them. Tyler Shuck. He hasn't looked that bad, but it's just not enough to win games. They're 2-10. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing for their playoff spot. They're trying to win the division. The Panthers are creeping up slowly behind them. When we get to the Panthers, I'll tell you how I think that's going to go. But I think the Buccaneers are going to move up to 8-5. They're going to get this win. They're trying to stay among the elite, but with Baker's shoulder being a little bit questionable, I guess. I was going to say controversial. That's not the word. Just kind of questionable about how he's going to play with that. And the Saints defense not being that good. They could easily put in their backup, and I still think they could win this game. Do I think it's going to be a close game? I think it's going to be closer than most people think. But I still think they're going to get the dub easy. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-10. Excuse me. Hopefully I know how to edit this properly. Otherwise, it's just going to be really gross. Next up, the Steelers and the Ravens. Now, obviously being a Browns fan, I'm pretty sure you guys already know my opinion on how I think this game is going to go. I think a meteor is going to hit the stadium and all teams will die in a huge fire explosion, and they give the Browns the division for free. Obviously, I'm kidding. I don't hope anyone dies. I do hope the stadium gets hit and the game gets canceled and they both have to forfeit their franchises. Obviously not. Both teams are coming in 6-6, so this is a huge game. This game is also like the Colts and Jaguars, where the winner takes the division, pretty much. The Steelers, they do this classic thing where they look really strong or decent, they jump out to a huge lead, and they choke it. But, in their defense, they haven't really choked the lead, it's just that Lamar has come back healthier and they're ready to rock. This Ravens team has been steamrolling through opponents. Last week, a huge loss against the Bengals. 4 turnovers, an interception, and then 3 fumbles from Lamar. Not what you want. Well, I don't know if all the fumbles were from Lamar. I know one of them was, but my point being, they need to control the turnover issue. This game all depends on the Steelers' defense. If the Steelers' defense can show up. Do I think the Steelers' offense can destroy the Bengals' defense? I do think that. And I think this is going to be a higher scoring game, but kind of a mid-high, kind of in the 20s. I do think both teams will score double digits. I do think it'll finish within the score of each other. But a lot of people call this the best rivalry in the NFL. Absolutely not. It's easily Bears-Packers is better. Dallas-Philly is probably better. I think Browns-Steelers is better. But this is the game where all the old heads are like, oh, these two teams, they need to go out and just settle in a dark alley. No one cares anymore. These games always end like 10-13. I don't think it's going to happen this time, but that's how they always end. And I think this is going to be, obviously I can't say a high-scoring game, but it'll be a low high-scoring game, what I just said earlier. I think this game will end 21-17 in favor of the Ravens. I do think they get it done against the Steelers defense. I don't think they can rise to the occasion. I think the Ravens move on 7-6, and the Steelers drop to 6-7. No, I'm not doing the hand motion. You. Anyways, let's move on to the next game. I really don't want to talk about this for too long. Miami Dolphins versus New York Jets. Now, my boss is a Dolphins fan, so I legally have to call them to win this game. So I'm gonna go. Just kidding. He's a Dolphins fan, and I'm gonna call them to win, but I'm not obligated to. I do think the Dolphins will win. Just because the Jets don't. Obviously, they're coming off that big win against the Falcons, but they just don't have a solid option at quarterback. I know they have the backup. I think it's Tyrod Taylor, and we're number 2. Which is actually a solid backup. He's your favorite backup's favorite backup. Like, what more could you want from him? But he's not a backup at, like, Jameis Winston or Steelers Russell Wilson, for example. And I don't think they're going to be able to get it done with that. The Dolphins are actually trying to vie for that 7th seed in the playoffs. So we'll see how they do. Do I think they get it? Absolutely not. But I do think they get the dub this week. They go into New York, which they play every season. I think they go in there and get the dub in the cold weather. Beating the New York Jets. Let's just give let's say a 20-10 win. It's going to be a boring game. This is one of those games I'm not going to watch. I'm sorry for everyone out there who's Jets and Dolphins fans. This just isn't the game that I need to be paying attention to. And obviously, it's like, you're paying attention to games, this is totally you need to pay attention to. Because if the Browns get into the playoffs, they beat the Dolphins. Browns aren't making the playoffs. I'm paying attention to the games that are deciding division winners. But no offense to Dolphins or Jets. I love the Jets. Jets, Jets. And love Dan Marino. I don't know the Dolphins fight song. Oh, Miami? Yeah, I'm not singing the whole thing. I'm not going to embarrass myself here. But that's my call for that game. Next up, Raiders and Broncos. Broncos. Goodbye. Welcome back. I'm totally skipping that. I'm not getting into any of that. Anyways, Rams Cardinals. So maybe I should have saved that joke for this game because I don't really want to. Whatever, I'll go into it. Cardinals. Death, taxes, and Cardinals losing a close game. Those are the 3 givens in any situation. They're going to lose a close game. I obviously don't think this game's going to be close, but the Cardinals are way better than 3-9. Jacoby Brissett has actually looked like the solid option, and it's kind of making me question, are they going to rock with Kyler Murray for another year? I don't think so. I think Kyler Murray is going to go to the Jets in the offseason. We'll talk about that later, but huge playoff implications because the Rams are trying to get that 1 seed. If they can win it here, the Bears need to just lose one more. They have that top seed. So Matthew Stafford, MVP winner, I think he'll shred this Cardinals defense. Rams defense has been playing solid. Do I think that they're going to destroy the Cardinals offense? No, but I think they're going to hold them to enough to where they can get the dub. I think this game is going to end 31-17. kind of a bigger blowout, but I think there's going to be some garbage 10 points in there. So I think it'll be a close game most of the game, but a fourth quarter pull away. Give me the Rams 31-17. All right, only 2 more games left to talk about. We're moving into Sunday Night Football. Houston Texans are heading into Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs just came off of a Thanksgiving loss at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys have a really good offense, and that's how I think they were able to outgun the Chiefs. But the Houston Texans have been a decently solid team, not really on offense, especially with CJ Stroud looking out. Now, hey guys, editor here. Just letting you know, I've been editing for about an hour and a half, and I got to this part where I proceeded to go on a 7.5-minute rant about who was better between CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. No idea why Past Kickstart decided to do that, but it's here, and I'm not going to force any of you to listen to it because I never get anywhere with it. All I said was, I think Bryce Young's better in the long term, but he wouldn't turn out on the Texans, which is odd because they're a better team than the Panthers. I don't know what I'm going off of, but I'm just going to put this voiceover here and save you all from having to listen to that whole thing, so I'll just speed it up here. Yes, thank you. I know I'm a hero, and I appreciate you for making it this far into the video. Thank you. This game does have major playoff implications, but the Texans are winning it to try and win the division. They're not going for a wild card. I don't think they'll get a wild card if they lose this game, but they're going for their division. The Kansas City Chiefs are going for a wild card spot. I don't think they're going to try and beat the Broncos at this point. That's just what they got to do. Patrick Mahomes having a silent MVP season. I don't think he's going to get it. I already went into this. Let's keep going. And they've done really solid against solid defenses, but their defense has just been lacking against solid offenses. The Cowboys have an amazing offense, and they were able to beat the Chiefs at home on Thanksgiving, prime time. The Texans don't have the best offense, but they took it into Buffalo, or that was in Houston. Buffalo came down to Houston, and they were able to outgun that defense. So, who do I have for this? Strictly, I'm going off of location based. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this just because it's at home. They got the home game advantage. It's a Sunday night. They're ready to ball out. I think it will be a good game. I think this game will end 21-24 in favor of the Chiefs, but it's going to be a close, super, super close game in the second half. The first half, I think, is going to be a bit of a blowout. I think the Chiefs take a 14-point lead, but the Texans will make a comeback. Fourth quarter starts, the Chiefs pull away. Chiefs get the dub, prime time. All right, our last game, Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this Eagles O-line gets it done. That's where a game is won. It's won in the trenches, a D-line and the O-line. That's where it's won. You got the best D-line, you got the best O-line. If you have the best O-line, you could probably win most of your games. I'm not going to get into the debate of is Jalen Hurts a top 10 QB in the league. I think he is, but I'm not going to get into it. Jalen Hurts is a really good QB. And he is an even better QB because of how good his line is. You put him on another team, he won't be as good. I still think he's very good. Do not get that wrong. Please do not come after me, Eagles fans. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to get it done because of a better O-line. Do I think it's going to be a close game? Absolutely. I think this game is going to end 20-17. Last second field goal by the Eagles. And it's just going to be a really interesting... It's just going to be a really interesting Monday night game. Obviously, the Eagles have been in primetime the last 3 weeks, and they've all been ugly. The Lions, the Packers, disgusting games. Don't want to watch this again. So we can just hope this game can be good. I don't really care who wins this game, but I just want it to be good. And that's all I can ask for. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to end it here. I said during the Buccaneers portion that when we get to the Panthers, I'll talk about them because I wanted to tell you guys how that division shakes up. But they have a bye, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it. And I'm not going to say it now. I want to leave it as a cliffhanger. That means you got to come back next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this. This is my first ever time trying to do this live in front of a camera. I keep looking at the OBS screen, but my camera's right there, so I apologize. I'll get better at this, but hopefully I have another monitor so we can get stuff working. But I'm heading home to work next week. I'll be on the radio the next week. Hopefully I can get some more videos out, and then the interview comes out sometime in January. So I can't wait for you guys to see that, and I can't wait for you guys to see some more guests we got coming on. We got some big names, we got some small names, but I'm very excited. With that being said, I'll sign us out. My name is Charlie Cash, aka Kickstart, your host of Kickstart Sports Radio. All sports and no ads, except for the occasional plug. You guys already saw the plugs right here. And with that being said, find a way for the A. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next week. Peace out.